Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast. Did you know that there's a promise hidden underneath a lot of the self-improvement industry that will wind up creating more pain for you than progress? Most don't say it directly, but it's there. It's buy the book, take the course, learn the strategy, optimize your morning routine, track the metrics, heal the wound, discover your purpose, and eventually you'll have the keys that will unlock the secret, the one that's been standing between you and the life you want, the keys to the kingdom. And for a while, that promise feels hopeful, because it suggests that your struggles are all solvable. Pain is fixable. Uncertainty is temporary. You just haven't discovered the key yet. And so if you're like me, you read, you learn, you grow. You also buy another course and you listen to another podcast just like this one, and you hire another coach just like me, and you consume another strategy. And none of those things are inherently bad. We've done them. The problem is not self-improvement. The problem is the fantasy that there is a version of you that can become immune to the pain that life will present if you just try hard enough, and that's the lie. Because once you believe that there's a version of you that can eliminate disappointment, no longer have any uncertainty, rejection, oh, it's kicked to the curb. Failure, loss, no longer happens. And that grief, no, it's not something you're going to experience. When that happens, growth changes. And it no longer becomes an expression of who you are. And it starts becoming an attempt to control reality. And with every new strategy carries an unspoken promise that this might be the thing. This is what finally fixes the relationship. This is what will grow my business. This will heal my wound, and it's going to remove the uncertainty, and it's going to guarantee the success. And the promise feels so hopeful. You keep searching. The book, the certification, the training, the productivity system, the breakthrough, the optimization. We're not chasing growth when we do that. We're going after immunity to the pain. We don't want to experience the disappointment anymore. And so we try to become the kind of person who can finally engineer life so well that pain will no longer apply to us. But that is a bargain that life never offered. Because no amount of personal development can guarantee people will not leave. And that's including you having to leave them. And no amount of healing will guarantee you'll never be hurt again. In fact, that very wound will get poked. And there is no amount of planning and systems that will guarantee success. And there's no amount of discipline that will get you the outcome guaranteed that you wanted. Growth increases the influence you have over your life to influence the impact that you want it to have. But it does not create control. And that's where self-improvement becomes self-punishment. Because we can falsely believe that everything is controllable, and that if it is, then every disappointment requires an explanation. So when life fails, well, we must have failed. We've got to be responsible. We need to be blamed. The finger points back at us. We didn't work hard enough. We didn't heal enough. We didn't learn enough. We didn't want it badly enough. Oh, I remember a coach saying that one time. You don't want it bad enough. And that's when it was a Thursday. And that's when Thursday got an upgrade from Thankful Thursday to Throat Punch Thursday, because that's exactly what I wanted to do. We think we didn't optimize enough. We didn't become enough. And that growth becomes accusations. Curiosity becomes an obsession. And what started out as stewardship becomes self-surveillance. And here's the irony of all of this. This is what we're going to talk about next time, because all of this had a source, and you are highly vulnerable because you're conscientious, because there were things happened in your life where people did not take the responsibility that they were supposed to, and you learned to overperform and you learned to overfunction. You genuinely want to improve, and you will take that responsibility. You will work hard, and that is a virtue. Until everything becomes your responsibility, until the burdens you're carrying no longer just belong to you. And when you're caught in self-punishment, you rarely stop at doing your part. You do everybody else's part also. You carry the relationships, you carry the families, you carry the businesses, you carry the emotional labor. You carry what was never yours to begin with, because it was called commitment, dedication, work ethic. But then underneath all of that, there's something more painful. If I can just do enough, maybe I can finally control the outcome, and life won't hurt like this. And so you work harder, you try harder, you carry more, sacrifice more, and then exhaustion becomes normalized. And the problem is not that you're incapable of resting. It's that resting feels dangerous, because if you stop taking care of everything, reality is going to do something you don't like, and it's going to cause pain. But there is no amount of overfunctioning and overperforming that can control a world that contains other people and chances and timing and loss and uncertainty. So how do you know when you've crossed the line from healthy growth into self-punishment? By the way, when you're at the peak of pain with self-punishment, you can't learn anything. It's like a dog that's gone highly reactive, and now you're trying to give them commands. They can't hear you. The emotional flooding is too strong. I was in an experience just this morning with myself on this. I have a 7-month-old puppy. I invested a tremendous amount of time as well as money for this puppy, who I love with every fiber of my being. But the dog that I had invested, that I thought I was getting, is not the dog I wound up with. And
So he has the type of reactivity called FOMO, fear of missing out. So he's pulling and he's lunging and he's going after things, not because he's fearful, but because there's more to be discovered and go after. Similar to people. Yes, I got a dog whose traits are very similar to mine. Oh my. Yeah. And so when he gets aroused by seeing another dog and starts lunging and jumping, it's not out of a fear and it's not out of aggression. It's, I want to get to that. But then he sets off a reaction in the other dog where now they feel like they need to fight back. And so I've taken the classes, the group classes, and I hired a behavioralist, and it did not improve him. And so now I'm taking another step with having a trainer come to my house. But in the meantime, I'm taking him on limited walks. And this morning, he saw 2 squirrels, then another dog, and then a person. And the squirrels put him over. I knew right then I had to bring him home because he was already over the threshold and couldn't hear any further commands. And the same thing happens with us when we're flooded, because I was flooded in that moment. I was going over everything I had done to try to ensure I was going to get the ideal dog, and it failed. It didn't happen. And so there was not going to be any amount of progress self-talk or focusing on what I should be grateful for or the next steps that I could take. No, I had to reset myself. I had to get out of the flooding. And so I have a hypnosis session for you that will assist you in doing the same thing. It's called Reset. You can grab it, the description down below. It has where you can go to grab it. It's my website, and then you click on the link that is the free, the gifted hypnosis audio. But do not try to take any steps in getting towards your goal when you find that you have gone beyond growth and you've gone into self-punishment. And why is this happening? And I've tried so hard. Healthy goals improve the quality of your life. The self-punishment attempts to establish your value by arguing. If your worth is waiting on the other side of you getting your goal, you've already crossed that line. So that's step number 1. When is enough going to be enough? I'm having to evaluate some of my dreams and goals that I had with this dog as far as travel and hiking. And they may happen, but not in the way that I thought they were going to. And so if I'm waiting to have joy until those things happen, then I'm trying to establish value based on what could take place. And I already broke the boundary. I've already gone too far. All right. So that's question 1. So what is the synopsis of question 1? If I achieve this goal, do I believe I'll finally be enough? Yeah. Okay. Question 2. Am I pursuing growth, or am I trying to eliminate pain? Because there's a difference. Growth says, I want to increase my capacity. Control says, I need to have a guarantee that this isn't going to hurt anymore. And that is never offered. And so I've had to remind myself many, many times that I need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. But there's a difference between being uncomfortable and being in pain. And when I'm in pain, gotta stop, gotta reset, because you can't go from pain to progress. Question 3. When things don't go your way, do you get curious or are you critical? Because growth responds with, oh, what can I experience? Not what can I learn? That is a BBS, bad belief system. That's what took us through school. Oh, what can I learn? And then if I give enough answers correct, I'll pass the test and go to the next level. That is not how life works. What am I supposed to learn? Sometimes there's nothing you can learn except what not to do next time. Instead, okay, well, how do I want to express myself right now? Okay, that's growth. Because I tell you what, if I'm dealing with an asshole, I'm not going to go, oh, what can I learn from this? No, it might be throat punch Thursday where no, I am not going to commit physical violence, but I might be drawing a boundary where that person will not want to attempt to do that again. That is so different than self-punishment. Every single woman I work with, and some very intelligent men, when life doesn't go their way, you know what they bring to me? What's the very first question they ask? What's wrong with me? Why can't I get this? Why does this keep happening to me? And I'm like, oh, because you were taught to carry the burdens that do not belong to you. That is a really bad question to ask. How about instead of pointing the finger at yourself, you start pointing it at the condition, the situation, and start asking, what might be wrong with this? The trainer that I have coming to my house said, how far away does your dog have to get before he starts getting reactive? And I'm like, oh, now I need to look at this in a different way. How close am I getting to something before I go into overwhelm and it's too late? And he's like, yeah, because what we need to do is we need to work with that distance first before we do immersion, and it's too late. And so, well, yeah, what situations, what conditions are you put into when you get pushed over the edge? And how can we begin to back that off and say, okay, what can we work with up to this point? Okay, so that's questions that show when you're getting pushed into pain. And once you're in pain, you can't get to progress from there. You got to pause and reset. Okay. So the reset, here's 3 steps that can help with that. Separate effort from the outcome. Yeah, I know we have things that we want to move towards, but we might need to figure out a different way to get you there. Your effort belongs to you. The outcome does not. You control your preparation, your character, who you are, whether you're feeling good and in progress or you're under pressure, your actions, but timing, other people, opportunities. Yeah, there are a lot of variables and outcomes that you cannot command. So let's find a strategy. It is not going to be the keys to the kingdom, but it's going to be a way for you to pivot when the current process cannot get you there. Step 2, Replace blame with data. When something does not work, resist the urge to make it personal. There are 4 P's to learned helplessness, and it is learned. And the first one is you make it personal. It's all about you because that's how you were controlled. That's how you were manipulated at one point to perform for the benefit of others at the expense of yourself. And then the second one is once that starts, it becomes pervasive, that you start making it personal and taking on things in other areas of your life. And then after that goes on for a while, you think it's part of your personality, that it's permanent. That's the third P. No, it's learned. And then the fourth P is power over, power under. When you start playing images in your mind that the situation you're in, the symbols that go along with it, are looming over you. This is, yes, when you have broken through that boundary and you are in pain. And now we need to do a reset where the symbolism, this is the reason why I love hypnosis, because it doesn't necessarily just rely on language, which is prefrontal cortex, but it is going to use the symbols in the subconscious. And if there's ever a disagreement between the subconscious and your prefrontal cortex, also known as your conscious, the subconscious wins every single time. So we need to give it a reset where the symbolism puts you larger than the problem. Okay. So replace blame with data. Instead of making it personal, ask, what information does this give me? Begin to remove the emotion from it. Because blame creates shame, and shame keeps you stuck. Okay, step 3. We are not looking at control. We're going to use a word most people have had limited encounters with, called stewardship. Stewardship says, what is mine to care for? Control says, okay, how do I guarantee that I'm going to get this? Stewardship says that, all right, what do I do to bring out this as best as possible? Because when we look for those guarantees of control, and I'm going to tell you right now, it wasn't your fault. Someone put you in that position. They wanted you to guarantee that someone was going to take action and put in the effort for them, not for you. 80% of who we are as an adult was learned by age 8, just to give you a little bit of insight on that. Okay, so what can I do to steward this as best as I can in this moment is a path that begins to lead to peace. And the other one, there's got to be a key that is going to unlock everything, and that is going to lead to anxiety because it is not possible. If any of this feels familiar, if you're like me and you've caught yourself in the endless cycle of trying harder and learning more, and you'll finally have all the answers to the test, and life is going to promote you to the next level. But instead, the pain just keeps coming back. Take me up on the hypnosis experience reset. It is designed to interrupt those patterns that keep pulling you back into overfunctioning and overperforming. Because right now, you don't need another book. You don't need another strategy. You need to start discovering who you are underneath the pressure and who you were intended to be before the pain started telling you how you were going to live life. So here's our closing thought. Self-punishment, if I do everything right, I'll finally get the outcome I'm owed. Or I am going to do the best that I can with what is mine to steward. Because the goal of growth is not to become invulnerable or to become immune to disappointment. It's to increase your capacity of meeting life the way it really is, and then designing your life in the way that's going to bring you out at your best. And that is a very different kind of strength, talent, and abilities. So until we meet again, blessings on your journey. Before you go, I have a gift for you. If you've been listening to these episodes and finding yourself questioning old beliefs, wrestling with difficult realities, and wondering how to move forward without pushing yourself into exhaustion, I've created a gifted hypnosis experience called Renewal Reset. It's designed to help you release those outdated truths, let go of misaligned hopes, and stop the painful pushing that so often keeps you stuck. This guided experience will help you quiet the noise, reconnect with your own wisdom, and create forward movement from a place of clarity rather than pressure. You can claim your gifted hypnosis experience at dawnlandrum.com and then click on the tab that says gifted hypnosis experience, or it might say free. That's dawnlandrum.com. And until next time, blessings on your brilliance and how you bring the beauty of you to the world around all of us.